I wouldn't normally do a straight to video talking piece unless it was on uh, a concrete subject, largely unchanging, because let's face it, at the end of the day, these are very disposable and usually age like milk, depending on the situation. Well, I thought I'd like to talk about the death on Wednesday of Brian Wilson at the age of 82. One of the giants, not just of American music, but of music full stop, of songwriting full stop. What is there to say about him that hasn't already been said? He had, by all accounts, a difficult childhood and upbringing. An overbearing father, sought solace to some extent in music, in creating music. And at a time when it was becoming increasingly clear that the youth movement of rock and roll was being tamed by the nascent music industry of the time. They still had the Rat Pack, and basically the corporations retreated into, well, whatever seemed safe to them. Elvis had gone into the army. That left a load of clones, Sinatra wannabes, crooners, novelty singles, jazz, of course, folk and country, and the black vocal groups. One of the safe ways through in guitar-led rock and roll music, if we want to call it that, was instrumentally through surf guitar, pop, and to that Brian added melodies and harmonies, particularly harmonies, because of course he had a family group to rely on. He covered the usual teen topics of the teenage Californian dream, beach parties, catching the next wave, Californian girls. Looking clean cut still, usually in stripy shirts. And when he thought he'd exhausted almost everything he could say with that, moved on to car culture, that other boom of the early 60s American dream, the hot rod. And it's immediately clear in all of this that he's got a great gift for it. You only have to listen to Little Deuce Coupe or Fun for that. In the mid-60s, of course, he has something of a breakdown. He's an introvert, interested primarily in creation and songwriting, less about performing. And this sets up a conflict. He's essentially hiding in a sea of voices. So the Beach Boys are a band that go out and play, and Brian is the one who sits and writes. He changes the nature of the teen pop composer of the time. And that's probably one of his greatest legacies, was taking the pop musician seriously. Pet Sounds is the obvious example of this. You get good vibrations, which still sounds incredible today. And God Only Knows, which doesn't actually ever settle on a key. It's rootless. It's almost a stream of consciousness. You know, what happens when you talk to the love of your life, an unseen person who's not even there, but you want to reveal something to them. He does something of that with songs like Don't Worry Baby. But that was from the other perspective. This is him talking direct, albeit through Carl. The effect of this, and of course Pet Sounds, is that across the waters, Paul McCartney starts looking at it and thinking, you know what, I could do that. You know, if nothing else, I could do melody and harmony. and the next thing you know, you're getting Sergeant Pepper. So I think it's important to recognise not only his influence on the burgeoning teen songwriting movement and beyond, and taking pop seriously, but also on the next generation of songwriters and on progressive music. I don't think you'd have the orchestral sounds of progressive rock. I don't think you'd have bands like Yes even, or perhaps more pertinently Gentle Giant, with the use of instrumentation without Brian Wilson. And although his legacy is still with the older generations, I wonder how much he means to younger music fans, if they even know of him. Because in the modern climate, a lot of this has been forgotten. Brian himself was in danger of being forgotten at the start of the 70s, when pop music was now divided up into bubblegum and essentially heavy rock. You may remember Jimi Hendrix talking about how we'd never have to listen to surf music again. Well, it was fairly clear who he was aiming at there, but I think Brian won the argument. It's more the voices and the composition we're willing to listen to in the charts, and the bedroom guitarists are now mainly on Instagram. So it's a goodbye to Brian, and maybe we'll never see his like again, but let's hope we do.